Namaste, welcome back to studying of the uh, Lotus Sutra, the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra. As a part of the Soul series, the Sunya Open University Learning, we have started this new series where we are studying one of the most interesting and ancient texts of India, the Lotus Sutra. And before we begin our studying for part day 2 of today, let's quickly practice our 9 to 0, the Shunya meditation.
Before starting practice, please sit comfortably, keep your back straight, and keep your hands relaxed in any mudra. Remember, one breath in and one breath out is one count. While reverse counting, gently focus on your natural breath. Do not force your breath. At the sound of the bell, begin your practice. Start.
So let's continue. We are doing the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra. Uh, we are going to go with verse number 51 onwards. So we saw yesterday a list of all the audience, the spectators, as well as all the beings, whatever possible, from all the three realms, gathered on the Gridhakrita, the vulture's peak, where they saw a very auspicious sign from the Buddha himself, a ray of light emitting from between his eyebrows and spreading and enlightening or lightening up the east world, where they could see everything very clearly, all different six realms, the people there, the Buddha's teaching there. So it was a wonderful setup. So, but here the most important factor here is to let us know that the audience size, the listeners, the people who are witnessing this event is a huge number. So this shows that this is one of the most important sutras, and it was expounded the later part of Buddha's life. Hence, it is kind of an essence, or the you can say the cream of all his teaching all through his life. So I think it's a very important sutra, and we are very blessed to have a copy that was translated now by the SIF team from Chinese to English, and that's what we are studying. And this is a text that is also going through its revision while we study. So today we're going to do verses 51 onwards. So these bodhisattvas saw this radiance universally illuminating the Buddha lokas and experienced something they had never known before. They wished to understand the reason and cause for this light. At that time, there was a bodhisattva named Varaprabha who had 800 disciples. So now we saw yesterday that how Manjushri and Maitreya were having a conversation where Maitreya wanted to know why this is happening. And this question is coming up in everybody's mind. Why is this auspicious sign being shown by the Buddha? And so here is another bodhisattva called Varaprabha, and he is also having around 800 of his own disciples. So this whole retinue is also with the same question. They want to know the reason and the cause for this light that is emitting from the eyebrows of the Buddha. Next slide. At that time, the Chandra Surya Pradipa Buddha arose from Samadhi and for the Bodhisattva Varaprabha, expounded the great Mahayana Sutra called as the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, which teaches the dharma of bodhisattvas and is protected and upheld by the Buddha, not rising from his seat for 60 minor kalpas. Those in the assembly who were listening also remained seated in one place for 60 minor kalpas, their body and mind perfectly still, listening to what the Buddha expounded, as though no more time had passed than a meal. At that time in the assembly, there was not a single person, either in body or mind, who gave rise to weariness or fatigue. Now, imagine this is about the cyclical events that were happening. The Chandra Surya Pradipa Buddha was again and again expounding this from lifetime to lifetime, and this is also one of the incidences that is being reiterated and shared here by Manjushri. And here he's telling that this particular event where this happened is going to be very similar to what is going to happen today here. And here, if you look at it, they are talking about like almost 60 minor kalpas. These people were sitting and listening, but that was almost like just a meal's time, a very small period where a person experiences a vastness, the greatness, but within a very short period of time, which seems to be short, but technically it is a long time. But then, hence, there is no weariness or fatigue, because everybody's body and mind is very much excited to listen what Chandra Surya Pradipa Buddha was expounding. So, continuing further, after the Chandra Surya Pradipa Buddha had expounded the sutra from 60 minor kalpas, he proclaimed to the assembly of Brahmas, Maras, Shramanas, Brahmanas, as well as Devas, humans, and Asuras, the Tathagata will enter Anupadhi Shesha Nirvana. That means the nirvana without any remainder at the middle of this very night. So after he has explained, he's also making a statement here that this night, middle of this night, he is going to who? The Tathagata himself is going to enter into a Anupadi Shesha Nirvana. At that time, there was a bodhisattva named as Guna Akara, and the Chandra Surya Pradipa Buddha immediately gave him a Vyakrana, that's the prediction. He announced to the bhikshus, this bodhisattva, Guna Akara, will in due course become a Buddha, and with the name of Vimalakaya, Tathagata, Arhant, Samyak Sambhuddha. Now, here, if you see, at this juncture, when this auspicious sign, when Buddha is about to proclaim that he is going to enter into the deepest state of nirvana, here he's also in a state where he's making predictions for certain bodhisattvas, telling them when they are going to become a Buddha. So this is also going to be very interesting for all the audience, because they know here is coming a statement from the Buddha of predictions, and everybody is like waiting. It's like you wait for the announcement all year round. You work in a company, and the company, then the CEO of the company or the owner of the company comes and he is about to make some announcement. This is something like that, where somebody is going to be given a prediction what he is going to be, or new responsibilities coming in, everything happening here. So it's a very important event here. So after bestowing the Vyakarana, the Buddha then entered the Anupadi Shesha Nirvana at midnight. After the Buddha's passing, the Bodhisattva Varaprabha upheld the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, and for a full 80 minor kalpas expounded it for the benefit of all. Then, here, if you see, after his prediction, then Bodhisattva Varaprabha, he was the one who upheld the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, and then for 80 minor kalpas was expounding it to all. The 8 sons of Chandrasurya Pradipa Buddha all took Varaprabha as their teacher, and Varaprabha instructed and transformed them, enabling them to become firm in their pursuit of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. These princes, having made offerings to immeasurable hundreds of thousands of billions of Buddhas, all attained the Buddha mark. The last among them to attain Buddhahood was named Deepankara Buddha. He was named as Deepankara. Among the 800 Shishyas, that is disciples, there was one called Yashakamin, who was greedy for gain and offerings. Although he continued to read and recite many sutras, he did not master them with the skill and forgot much. And for this reason, he was called as Yashakamin. Yet this person too, by virtue of having planted various roots of virtue, was able to encounter immeasurable hundreds of thousands of billions of Buddhas and make offerings, pay respect, honor, and praise them. Maitreya, you should know the Bodhisattva Varaprabha at that time. Could he be anyone other than myself? It was I, and the Bodhisattva Yashagamin was yourself. Now, here, as he is expounding and telling who what happened in the past, and because Manjushri has witnessed so many events of the past, he has served so many Buddhas. So, when Maitreya asked him, so Maitreya had picked up the right person to get the answer. And here, when Manjushri is expounding and telling him the story of what happened and how there were these kings who were serving the Buddhas and their children, and how they were being told. So the whole event is a very cyclical event, and he's also now confirming about he himself, who he is. And he said that the Maitreya, the Bodhisattva Varaprabha was nobody else other than me, and the Bodhisattva Yashakamin was yourself. The auspicious sign I now see is no different from what occurred before. Therefore, I reflect. Today, the Tathagata is about to expound the great Mahayana Sutra called as the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, which teaches the Dharma of Bodhisattvas and is protected and upheld by Buddha. At that time, Manjushri, wishing to restate this matter in the midst of the great assembly, spoke this gatha. I recall in past ages, immeasurable countless kalpas ago, there was a Buddha, honored among humans, named Chandra Surya Pradipa. The Bhagavan expounded the Dharma, liberating immeasurable sentient beings, and caused countless billions of bodhisattvas to enter the prajna of the Buddha. Before the Buddha renounced the household life, he had 8 sons. Seeing the great sage renounce, they too followed in cultivating brahmacharya. At that time, the Buddha expounded the great Mahayana Sutra was named the Ananta Nirdesha, and amidst the great assembly, it was elaborately distinguished. After expounding this sutra right there on the Dharma seat, the Buddha sat cross-legged in Samadhi, called the seat of immeasurable meanings. The Devas rained the Mandara flowers, the celestial drum sounded of itself. All devas, nagas, and ghostly spirits made offerings to one honored among the humans. All the Buddha lokas immediately trembled greatly, and the Buddha emitted a light between his brows, manifesting all manner of rare events. This light illuminated 18,000 Buddha lokas to the east, showing all sentient beings the places of their karma vipaka in jati and marana. Here, if you understand, it is about witnessing what happens to our karmas and how they are being segregated into birth and death. Seeing this, there were various Buddha lokas adorned with many treasures of the colors of lapis lazuli and crystal, all illuminated by the Buddha's light. Seen also were devas, humans, nagas, divine spirits, yakshas. Next slide. Gandharvas and Kimnaras, each making offerings to their Buddha. Also seen were Tathagatas who had naturally attained the Buddha mark, their appearance like a mountain of gold, upright and wondrously beautiful, just as a true golden image appears within pure lapis lazuli. The Bhagwan seated amid the great assembly expounds the meaning of the profound Dharma. In each and every Buddha Loka, there are countless Shravakas, that is, listeners, illuminated by the Buddha's light. All those great assemblies are seen. Some bhikshus are seen in mountain forests, exerting themselves and upholding the pure precepts as though protecting a bright jewel. Bodhisattvas are also seen practicing dana, shanti, and so forth. They are numbered like the Ganga Valuka. that's the sands of the Ganges, all illuminated by the Buddha's light. Also seen are bodhisattvas who have deeply entered into various meditations, that is dhyana, their body and mind serene and still, seeking the unsurpassed marga. Yet other bodhisattvas are seen who understand the mark of shunyata, emptiness of all dharmas, and in their respective lokas expound the dharma and seek the Buddha mark. At that time, the fourfold assembly, seeing the Chandra Surya Pradipa Buddha manifest great supernormal powers, all rejoiced in their mind, each asking among themselves, what is the reason, the cause for this? The one honored by the Devas and the humans had just arisen from Samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Varaprabha. You are the eye of the Loka, the one to whom all return with Shraddha, that is faith. You are able to uphold and preserve the Dharma treasury. What I have expounded, you alone can bear witness to it. After the Bhagwan had spoken these words of praise, causing Varaprabha to rejoice, he expounded this Sadharma Pundarika Sutra for a full 60 minor kalpas, never rising from that seat. The supremely wondrous Dharma he expounded, this Dharma teacher Varaprabha was able to receive and uphold it all. After the Buddha had expounded this Sadharma Pundarika Sutra and caused the assembly to rejoice, on that very same day he announced to the assembly of Devas and humans the meaning of the true mark of all dharmas. I have already expounded it to you. Tonight at midnight I will enter Nirvana. With one mind, apply yourself diligently. You must disassociate from heedlessness. Buddhas are extremely difficult to encounter in countless kalpas once only. Now, here the significance is being said. All the on one side there is a huge audience who is witnessing this, a huge audience that is going into conversation and being explained what is the significance of this event. On the other side, the Buddha also tells them that tonight is the night where he is going to go into nirvana, but he's telling them, everybody, whosoever it is, the Shravaka, the Pacheka, the Bodhisattva, he's telling all of them that it is very, very rare to encounter a Buddha. Okay, so much so, if you encounter one, it's a great blessing. To get to even access to his teaching is also as rare as meeting a Buddha himself. So here you should understand the importance of the sutra is being again and again stressed here, and again trying to tell that this is not one odd event. It's a cyclical event that has been happening from time immemorial. Like, you don't have a point where it all began. It's a cycle. It happens again and again. It's like a tree blossoms every season. Similarly, the Buddhas actually manifest themselves at the right time when the samsara needs one. So here, as we continue, we can understand the importance of the sutra and how it is playing on the concepts of something not being born, because that's what it would go against pratitya samutpad, the whole concept of dependent origination. So everything is just a cyclical origin. Every knowledge is just revolving and coming at its time when it needs to come. And as we continue to read, you'll understand the importance of this sutra. The sons of the Bhagavan, hearing that the Buddha would enter Nirvana, each harbored grief and anguish. How swift is the Buddha's passing! The noble Lord Dharmaraja comforted the immeasurable assembly. When I pass into cessation, do not grieve or be frightened. This Bodhisattva Guna Akara has already penetrated with his chitta, the mind, the true mark of the Ashrava free, that's a defilement free state. He will next become a Buddha named Vimalakaya and will also liberate immeasurable beings. So here the prediction is coming and of the next Buddha. The night the Buddha entered the Mahaparinirvan, like a fire extinguished when its fuel is spent, the Sharira, that is the relics, were distributed and immeasurable stupas were erected. Bhikshus and bhikshunis, their number like the Ganga, Valoka, the sands of the Ganga, redoubled their effort in seeking the unsurpassed mark. This Dharma teacher Varaprabha upheld and preserved the Dharma treasury of the Buddha, and for 80 minor kalpas widely proclaimed the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra. These 8 princes, transformed and awakened by Varaprabha, became firm in the unsurpassed marga and were to encounter countless Buddhas. Having made offerings to the Buddhas, they followed and practiced the great path, and one after another attained Buddhahood, receiving predictions, that is Vyakarana, in succession. The last of the heavenly ones among the heavens was named Dipankara Buddha, the guide of all rishis who liberated immeasurable sentient beings. At that time, this Dharma teacher, Varaprabha, had a disciple whose mind was always given to laziness, who craved fame and material gain, who sought fame and gain without satiation, who frequented the homes of prominent families, who disassociated from and forgot what he had studied and recited, and for this reason was called Yashakamin. Yet he too practiced many virtuous acts and was able to see countless Buddhas, made offerings to the Buddhas, followed and practiced the great path, completed the Shataparamita, that's the 6 perfections, and now stands in the presence of the Shakya lion. In due course, he will become a Buddha named Maitreya and will widely liberate countless sentient beings. After that, the Buddha passed into cessation, the lazy one, that was you, the Dharma teacher Varaprabha, that is now myself. I witnessed the Chandra Surya Pradipa Buddha. The auspicious sign of light was just like this. From this, I know that the present Buddha also wishes to expound the Sadharma Pundarika Sutra. The present sign is like the auspicious sign of before. This is the upaya, that's expedient means of the Buddhas. The present Buddha emits radiance to assist in revealing the meaning of the true mark. All of you should know. Join your palms and wait with one mind. The Buddha is about to rain the Dharma rain, satisfying those who seek the mark. For those who seek the three yana, that's the 3 vehicles, if any doubt have or hesitations come, the Buddha will cut them away completely, leaving not the slightest remainder. Now, here the importance is that the promise is about the Buddha showering the Dharma rain. Now, when the rain falls, if you see, the rain falls and it waters everything on its way. It doesn't differentiate between a small grass or the big tree, whether it's a dead plant or a live plant. It just showers. It's the water, the showering of the water, and the need of that plant, and in its capacity, how much it can take to continue its living. Similarly, when we encounter the teachings of the Buddha, through the study of sutras, we are actually being showered by the rain. Not everything will be understood by us, but the fact that we allow the rain to shower onto us, so that based on our need and our capacity, the wisdom from that rain is absorbed into us, and we then start growing and transforming our lives. Because without the rain, the plants cannot grow. Similarly, without the showering of the wisdom, we never can become wise. And in this world which is full of illusions, the wisdom that will help you to be skillful and smart, and to be skillful and smart is to be able to handle every illusion in a right way and not get lost. And I think if that part of ignorance is taken care of, you are definitely out of that cycle of suffering. So since we still have some time, we'll take chapter 2, the upaya, the skillful means. Now you look at the first chapter was all about the audience size. The second chapter is now going into the skillful means, the upaya. Yeah, let's take that. Okay. At that time, the Bhagwan arose serenely from Samadhi and addressed Shariputra. The wisdom of the Buddhas is supremely deep and immeasurable. It's the door of pragya, is difficult to understand and difficult to enter. It cannot be known by any Shravakas or Pratyeka Buddhas. Okay, why is this so? The Buddha has personally been close to hundreds of thousands of billions of countless Buddhas, practice exhaustively the immeasurable dharma marks of those Buddhas, exerted himself with courageous virya, that's effort, whose fame is universally known. accomplish the profoundly deep and unprecedented dharma, and expounds in accordance with what is appropriate. The intent of his words is difficult to comprehend. Shariputra, ever since I attained Buddhahood, I have, through various causes and conditions, various parables widely proclaimed the teaching in words, using countless upayas, guiding sentient beings so that they disassociate from all clinging. Why is this so? It is because the Tathagata is fully complete in both Upaya Kaushal, that skillful means, and the Jnana Darshana Paramita, the perfection of knowledge and insight. Shariputra, the knowledge and the vision of the Tathagata is vast, great, deep, and far reaching, immeasurable, and unobstructed. His power, freedom from fear, dhyana, liberation, samadhi have been entered into deeply without limit, and he has accomplished the all unprecedented dharmas. Shariputra, the Tathagata is able to discriminate all things in various ways, to skillfully expound all dharmas with gentle and pleasing speech that delights the hearts of the assembly. Shariputra, to state the essential point, immeasurable and boundless unprecedented dharmas, the Buddha has accomplished them all. Enough, Shariputra. There is no need to speak further. Why is this so? The foremost rare and difficult to comprehend dharma that the Buddha has accomplished. Only a Buddha, together with a Buddha, can thoroughly exhaust the true mark of all dharmas, namely that all dharmas are thus in their mark, thus in their nature, thus in their substance, thus in their power, thus in their function, thus in their cause, thus in their condition, thus in their result, thus in their retribution, and thus in their ultimate equality of beginning and end. At that time, the Bhagavan, wishing to restate this matter, spoke this Gatha. The hero of the Loka, immeasurable devas and humans, all classes of sentient beings, none is capable of knowing the Buddha, his powers, freedom from fear, liberation, and all samadhi, and all further dharmas of the Buddha. None is capable of fathoming them. Originally from countless Buddhas, fully practicing all margas, the profoundly deep and wondrous dharmas, difficult to see, difficult to comprehend. Having practiced these margas through immeasurable billions of kalpas, at the Bodhi Mandala, the fruit was obtained. I have fully seen and known this. Such great vipaka, the meaning of the various natures and marks. I and the Buddhas of the 10 directions alone can know this. This dharma cannot be displayed. It's the mark of language is shunyata. Among all other classes of sentient beings, none is capable of comprehending it except the assembly of bodhisattvas whose power of shraddha is firm. Here, if you see, it's very difficult to understand a teacher because a Buddha is so difficult to be understood because you have not become one yet. And here it is saying that only an assembly of bodhisattvas who are about to become Buddhas, they choose not to become a Buddha yet because they have taken a vow to deliver other sentient beings. So technically they are all on the verge of becoming a Buddha, but they still choose not to become and they remain in that serving attitude of Bodhisattva. But here he's saying, except the assembly of Bodhisattvas whose power of Shraddha is firm. So on the firm faith, they are the ones who can comprehend and understand the Buddha himself. The assemblies of Shishya of the Buddhas who have made pujas, that is offerings to the Buddhas, all ashravas already ended, dwelling in their final kaya, that's the final body, such persons as these, even their power is not up to it. Even if their entire loka were filled with persons like Shariputra, exhausting their thought together to measure it, they could not fathom the prajna of the Buddha. Even if the 10 directions were filled with persons like Shariputra, and all other Shishyas, also filling all the lokas of all the 10 directions, exhausting their thought together to measure it, they still could not know it. Now, here it is saying that for you to understand that state of Buddha, even the greatest among the disciples, like Shariputra, and if you filled all your people of your loka, the Bodhisattvas, if they filled every being there like Shariputra also, yet it is so difficult to understand and to comprehend the Buddha. Now, here, if you understand this, again is telling the profoundness of this dharma, teaching that is about to be expounded by the Buddha. And here, when we see the conversation now between Buddha and Shariputra at Vulture Peak, and as Buddha is going to expound, and we are going to get to know what is going to happen there. This is one great encounter for us too, that we are lucky, we are blessed to have these words of the Lotus Sutra being translated by the team's effort of SIF, especially Rucha. We need to mention her. She has actually personally gone into the text to study and reveal this, but also to Dr. Lim, who has been holding on to the text and revising it and checking through it and letting us know how important this text is for those who can understand what is the role of a bodhisattva, what is the role of us all who are on the path of Buddhahood. And there is no one exceptional out here who doesn't have the bodhicitta, who cannot become a Buddha. Everybody is just in the process of becoming one. Only thing is the time frame is different, because the effort is different, because the dedication is different, because the faith is different. And if that is not again a choice, it is just a conditional manifestation. When we start practicing Shunya, is one way in which we can speed up the process. So keep practicing Shunya. Meditation is the key to all this process. It's like it acts as a catalyst in your transformation process. So meditation is what you need to continue to doing Shunya practice. On the other side, if you can read a sutra, wonderful. There are different websites that we have launched. Please go through them and read them. So read these sutras. On the other side, you can always just listen to the sutras that has being taught or being read by the team here, and I'm sure it will help you, like the rain showering, all the dharma wisdom. It will help you to become wiser by the day. So thank you again. See you tomorrow. If there are no questions, we can proceed.